Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you being here. So in this video, I want to talk about the current state of the market and the hobby. Now, you've probably heard it from other YouTube creators giving their own opinion about the current state of the market and how we're either, in a crash, or something similar to that. So that's their opinion. I just felt like should be making a video and just giving out my opinion. And this is solely my opinion. You may agree or disagree, but I just felt like I needed to post something about it. And also just for recording basis, looking back at on this time frame, I think we should all be paying attention to it as the times have changed in this current state. Now, what is my opinion if this is a crash or a correction? My personal opinion, and I would say we're in a correction mode. Okay, so I gave a perfect example. I'm basing off of the Luka 2018 Prism PSA 10. Okay, so when this card spiked, it spiked during COVID. Okay, so like I want to say mid-March all the way through that year, 2020. It spiked significantly, and it's not that spike was not normal. Okay, that spike was just it went straight to the moon basically. And you're talking about a Prism based card. Okay, now I could compare to other players, Ja Morant and Zion, but I just wanted to compare to Luka because Luka's really, if you really look at his card, even in the silver, you're going to notice these changes. It happened during COVID. Okay, so the card spiked during COVID and it lasted throughout the whole year. People were stuck at home. They were restricted to their household and they had nothing else to do. So what kind of led them up to that point was new investors. Okay, so you add in the restrictions, and then you also add into the mix new investors to the hobby. New investors meaning that they saw an advantage in the sports card market, and so they decided to get in.
Cash. Been here long?
Yeah, look it up. Come on, give me the cash.
Now, whether some are still in from last year, that is yet to be determined, but I will guarantee that most of them have left the market, sold their cards. They were just in for that quick spike and then they left. So, like I said, it's a mixture of COVID restrictions and new investors to the hobby. But I think we're in a correction mode as we're going back to that same point pre-COVID. Okay, even the Luka's Prism, that card is slowly but surely going back to normal. Okay, and I don't believe there's going to be a crash or there is a crash. As long as there's sports happening, then sports cards will always be right up there with the sports market itself, because what drives sports cards is the actual sports events. All the sports events drive the cards. Now, let's just say that if one day all the sports kind of stopped all at once. And then you kind of saw that during COVID. It did survive. The sports market did survive. And it more than survived. It thrived when there was no sports happening for that small time frame during COVID. So I think it will last if the sports events totally stopped, but I don't think it would have lasted a significant amount of time. But they go hand in hand. You have to really think about it. The sports events happening in the sports card market, they go hand in hand. As long as they're both running, they're both going to thrive, and they're going to thrive off each other. What's happening now is, and I think Brad, the comeback card investor, sorry if I'm saying that all wrong, I think he pointed out in one of his videos, and he continues to say it, and I agree with him, what has changed now? What has changed that the market is not the same as it was during COVID? Well, you got those COVID restrictions. They're being released. They're being, all the restrictions that were set in prior are now being, uplifted or lifted up. Also, the stimulus checks and the money ran out. The government is no longer handing out stimulus checks, so people are diverting their money into other causes. As those restrictions are lifting up, you have people spending money in other things, in other areas. So it's no longer, that money is no longer focused on the sports cards. They're focused on other things such as vacations, trips, whatever, anything else besides sports cards. That's what the money is diverted from. So that's what you're seeing right now. And that's the current state that I believe that we're in. So with all that money being diverted, where does that leave the sports card market? Well, it leaves us where we are today. It leaves that those base cards of those star rookies, nobody wants them. And trust me, I've been to, you guys see my videos in the other, for the other card shows, and dealers and just people in general, collectors, they don't want Prizm base.
Oh, take it. I don't need it.
They don't want base in general. Okay, so when I show them any base cards of any star, it doesn't matter who it is. It could be, it could be anybody. They don't care and they don't want them. And that's just how it is. Will that be permanent? I don't think it will be permanent. I think eventually base cards will get popular at some point. It's just right now nobody wants them. And I've kind of like diverted my whole game plan leading up to the National. I did have some base cards of some star rookies, mainly basketball. But now I'm diverting my plan to not bring them, or just, bring other significant cards that I think that they're going to want. Because my plan is going to the National, I want to do the same thing like I do in every card show. I want to trade, I want to sell my cards, and just to get other cards that I want. So yeah, definitely had to change up my game plan and kind of figure out a whole new strategy in this. But that's the thing with the card market. It's very unpredictable, and you got to be ready for that change, and you got to be ready for to develop new strategies, because your old strategy may not work right now. And I can definitely say that I'm learning every day. I'm learning every day. I'm developing as a person, as a collector, as an investor. And I will never, ever say that I totally know the card market, because in fact, nobody really knows the card market. It's just like the stock market. You can predict changes, you can give advice, but you really don't know what's going to happen. You can only read the data, because data is king. We look at these charts and these numbers, and that's true. One thing that we can't predict the market, but what we can look at is the data, because the data tells us a lot of things. The data can tell us what we were just in, and possibly where we're going for the near future. So that's why the data itself is so important. Just like the stock market uses data, the sports cards market uses data as well. So I believe that by relying on the data and by doing your research, that you're going to become that much knowledgeable in the sports card market. Well, guys, that's it. That's the conclusion of the video. Give me your thoughts. You may disagree or agree with my opinion, but go in and comment below. Tell me if you guys agree, or if you guys think we're in a correction or in a crash. I would like to hear that feedback from you guys. The feedback is the best. And I'm glad you guys took your time to watch this video. And like I said, share with me you guys' thoughts, everything that's going through your state of mind. I would like to know that, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. But I hope you liked the video. I appreciate you guys watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.